I bought a second-hand book in Cornwall a few years ago, an old copy of Shakespeare, and when I opened it, I found a handwritten dedication from 1910 and some other interesting objects that, as far as I can tell, hadn't been touched in over 100 years. Someone had placed them there, and then nothing. This book passed from hand to hand for more than a century and nobody noticed. Today we're looking at hidden stories tucked inside old books. The photographs, the love letters, the train tickets, the forgotten notes. These accidental time capsules that turn up between the pages and offer you a brief, unexpected glimpse into someone else's life. It's a beautiful topic and a C1 level dictation at the end, so have a pen and paper ready. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's get into it. And if you find this useful, hit subscribe. There's a new episode every Thursday. Let's go. Now, you may have noticed, some of you, that I posted something on school today about a book. This is the post. Books, when books tell more than one story. This is what I wrote. I love it when I find something hidden inside an old book. Once I bought a second-hand book about Shakespeare, and inside the front cover was a dedication awarded to a young boy, coincidentally called John, for being top of his class in 1910, 115 years ago. It amazed me to think that that boy had lived his whole life and passed away, which is another way to say died, long before I ever saw his book. Even more surprising, while reading, a few dried leaves fell out, perfectly pressed between the pages. Who knows, they might have been there for over 100 years. It fascinates me to think what happened to my namesake. That's somebody with the same name as you, and your namesake. There's a nice expression for you. John Williams. Well, John, obviously not Williams. I wonder if he went to war, First or Second World War, or both. For your viewing pleasure, here is the book. This is the book, Tales from Shakespeare. And I picked this book up, meaning I bought it. Okay, I picked it up. I bought this book. I picked this book up in a second-hand bookshop in Cornwall about 10 years ago. Okay, and when I got home, I looked inside, and inside there was this dedication. Okay, the dedication to this young boy called John Williams in 1910. Okay, I'll read it to you. So it says, City of Birmingham Education Committee for Progress presented to John Williams, scholar of the first standard at the St Matthew's Boys' School, year ending July 1910. That was signed by J.H. Britton, the head teacher. Amazing. Isn't it just wonderful? And I really wondered what happened to this guy. And then I was reading through it, and I don't want to make them fall out, but I got to a certain page, and inside, look, there's these leaves. And these leaves were pressed inside the book. And there were three of them, which I like to think maybe he'd used as a bookmark. I don't know. Well, you know what leaves look like. And I thought it was an amazing story. So I shared it with you. But I thought today's dictation would be interesting to talk about some of the interesting things that you can find in second-hand books. Not the kind that you simply read and put back on the shelf, but hidden stories found between the pages. Forgotten letters, old photographs, boarding passes, dried flowers, even money, if you're lucky. There's something magical about opening an old book and discovering a piece of someone else's life tucked inside. Okay, so I've shared my specific discovery with you. I want to ask you guys, have you ever found anything interesting inside a second-hand book? Or how about this? If you haven't, what would you leave inside a book for someone to find 100 years from now? Type your comments in the chat and I'll read them a little later at the end. Okay, so before we go to the dictation, let me share a few more fascinating examples of things that people have found inside books. Okay, so in an article which I recently read, and I'm going to post the link for the article under this saved webinar so that you can read it yourself. Readers reported finding various different things inside books. So here's one photograph of a young girl inside a copy of Wuthering Heights. Okay, so isn't that interesting? Because of course, you know, you look at this and you think, who was that girl? Who is that girl? Where is she? Why is she inside this book? So, of course, the Wuthering Heights is already a great book, but of course, this is a different story, isn't it? So, found photographs offer a glimpse, a little look into a stranger's world, whilst disallowing the opportunity to know more. So, in other words, you can see the picture, but you don't know any more. And a circle of curiosity is at once opened and closed. Okay, you never saw this girl before, you see her, you wonder who she is, no more information. Look, a collection of flowers found inside a second-hand book, softening pages and leaving a trace of someone else behind. This is similar to what I found in my book, The Leaves. Yeah, which is strange because we can also call pages leaves as well in a more formal English. Okay, between the leaves of a book. Okay. Look at this. A glimpse into long ago, an urgent exchange is not pertinent enough to be preserved. So this was an old letter or an envelope from 1965 found between the pages of a book. And I mean, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? They're like each book becomes a time capsule in many respects, encapsulating somebody's life without giving any further clues. So tonight's dictation is about this subject. Yes, it is. So you're going to need a piece of paper. Go and get a piece of paper and a pen if you don't have one. And I'm going to dictate a short 100-word text to you on this subject. I want you to listen and write what I say. Now, it's about C1 level, but, well, maybe B2, C1. I don't think it's particularly difficult. I'll read each sentence twice and give you time to write. And then at the end of the dictation, I'm going to read the whole text again at normal speed, and then I'll show you the text so that you can check what you've written. This is great practice for your listening, spelling, writing, grammar, vocabulary. It's a good all-round exercise. Now, you'll probably see me writing at the same time. That's because I want to make sure I don't dictate too quickly. So I dictate, I write it myself, and then I'll read it again and then move on. If you don't have time to write everything, or if you don't understand, leave a gap, okay? And I'll come back, you can come back to it later. So we're going to start in about 10 seconds. Warm up your wrists and your hands. Okay, so we're writing on a piece of paper, not in the chat. 3, 2, 1, let's do it. Second-hand books are more than just old pages. Second-hand books are more than just old pages. And faded print. and faded print. Dash. They often carry traces of the lives They often carry traces of the lives they've passed through. They've passed through. Full stop. New paragraph. Hidden between the pages, comma, you might find train tickets. Hidden between the pages, comma, you might find train tickets. Comma, handwritten notes, comma, or even love letters from the past. Handwritten notes, comma, or even love letters from the past. Full stop. I once came across a novel with a dedication. I once came across a novel with a dedication. Dated 1910, comma. Dated 1910, comma. Along with pressed autumn, along with pressed autumn leaves, carefully placed inside. Along with pressed autumn leaves, carefully placed inside. Full stop. It felt like stepping briefly into someone else's life. It felt like stepping briefly into someone else's life. Full stop. Last paragraph. From old photographs to forgotten money. From old photographs to forgotten money, comma. These unexpected items can turn books. These unexpected items can turn books into accidental time capsules. Into accidental time capsules, comma. Offering short but powerful glimpses. offering short but powerful glimpses into the stories of those who once held them. Into the stories of those who once held them. Full stop. End of dictation. So, okay, just relax a second. I'm going to read the whole text again at normal speed so you can get ready to fill in any gaps or anything you didn't hear the first time. Or if you just want to check what you've written, listen again and double check. Okay. Second-hand books are more than just old pages and faded print. They often carry traces of the lives they've passed through. Hidden between the pages, you might find train tickets, handwritten notes, or even love letters from the past. I once came across a novel with a dedication dated 1910, along with pressed autumn leaves carefully placed inside. It felt like stepping briefly into someone else's life. From old photographs to forgotten money, these unexpected items can turn books into accidental time capsules, offering short but powerful glimpses into the stories of those who once held them. So that is the end of the dictation. Now, in a few seconds, I'm going to show you the text. But in the meantime, how was that for you? How was it in terms of level? Easy, difficult, not bad? In terms of speed, too quick, too slow? Let me know. Always good to know in the comments. So let's have a look at the text. So this is what you should have written. Okay. No, I don't apologize, Gina. No, 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 no. It's not necessary. Second-hand books are more than just old pages and faded print. So if something is faded, it's lost some of its brightness. Okay. A t-shirt might fade in the sun. Everything fades in the sun. Your writing might fade. A t-shirt might fade if you wash it a lot of times. They often carry traces of the lives they've passed through. Hidden between the pages, you might find train tickets, handwritten notes, or even love letters from the past. I once came across a novel with a dedication dated 1910, along with pressed autumn leaves carefully placed inside. It felt like stepping briefly into someone else's life. From old photographs to forgotten money, these unexpected items can turn books into accidental time capsules, offering short but powerful glimpses into the stories of those who once held them. So there you go. How was it? What did you find difficult in this text? Are there any words you don't understand? I'm happy to help you with them. Anything which surprised you about the pronunciation? Let me know in the chat. Let's go back and read some of your comments from earlier. I asked you anything that you'd found. Francesca said money would be out of circulation, no longer valid. That's a good point if you found money in a book. Mel said that that previous document was from Calcutta, yeah, a marvelous document from the past. Anastasia said, my family found love letters of my great-great-grandfather, really, and great-great-grandmother in a book from my great-grandfather's library after he had passed away. The language they were written in was fascinating. That's an amazing story, Anastasia. Amazing. Incredible. Okay. So Mel said, what does capsule mean? A capsule is like a container, something you keep something in. So a time capsule is like a container in which you put things which are representative of the current time of now, maybe newspapers, music, maybe some inventions. We could put an iPhone in there, for example, and then they're sealed. This capsule is closed and buried under the ground and then opened in the future, maybe 100 years from now, so that people can open it and see what was important 100 years ago. So that's a time capsule. So guys, how did you get on? Let me know. Thank you to all of you for giving up some of your time this evening to be with me. It's always a pleasure to spend some time with you guys. So look after yourselves. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Bye.